All right, people, how we doing out there? Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Doc Severson with Ready Set Crypto. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of June. Welcome aboard as we do a session that we call Ready Set Live. Now, today I'm just by myself. I'm just doing this solo because Mav is traveling out in Minneapolis today. So we will miss him and his insights, but we will carry on forward. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the charts today. So I will look for your requests. So go ahead, let us know where you're coming in from today, where you're attending our webinar today, what city you're in, what state of mind you're in, whatever you want to call it. And go ahead and hit the thumbs up button as well, too, if you get a chance, because what that does is tells YouTube that we've got a very active crew on, and it will help propagate that and get the word out to more people. So we'll get going here in just a minute. I'm going to move this down to the chart so you can, I'll just hide myself down in the corner down here, and I will look for your locations. I am coming in today from downtown Greenville in the state of South Carolina. It's hot these days. It's like mid-90s right now. Fahrenheit, I don't know what that maps out to Celsius, but let's see, what do we got there? We got Cristofarno. We have Guten Tag with Vod. Guten Morgen. All right, we got Yoshi coming in with the Netherlands. We got Rockville. And let's see, South Carolina, upstate New York, Pretoria, South Africa, State of Insanity in Pennsylvania, and Amsterdam on holiday in Spain. And we got Crypto Hammer coming in from Tejas, 100 plus down there. It is, yeah, I remember some of the world's best air conditioning I've ever been through was in Houston, Texas. You'd come out of a building and immediately your glasses would fog up. There was such a huge differential. Commufornia. Hey, Coob. How you doing out there? So what I'll be doing here, and I'll give a little market overview in a minute, at least of what I'm seeing. And then what I'd like you to do is, while I'm doing that, go ahead and write in with whatever coins that you'd like me to go take a look at. Quite honestly, not a lot of them are looking good, and it's been like that now for several months, but, no surprise. But what we need to focus on is, instead of what's happened in the past, we need to focus on the future. What would have to happen to your coin for that to reverse and start the process of bottoming? Now, it's not going to be pretty. We're not going to just see a V bottom off of these levels. We're not going to just see the price like stop and reverse one day and start heading higher. That would be nice. But understand that bottoms are there for a reason. Bottoms are there to the point where nobody will want to go long. It will be that bad. And that's necessary because that is what separates the pros from the retail traders. Is the pros will see an opportunity, or they have a trading plan that they've set up, and it's their duty to go long when the signals show up, and they don't care what is going to happen in the future. They just know, hey, my signal's here, so I'm going long. So we'll talk about what will have to happen for those signals to start showing up. All right, Zach recovering from the COVID. Yuck. So far, I've been able to avoid that. I don't know, we got one person in my family that's had it. My daughter got it really bad. Everybody else has been able to avoid it so far. And South Carolina has had some of the most lax masking and social distancing laws that I've ever seen. We'd come from a place like, further up north, and everybody is just completely paranoid, and come down to South Carolina. This is like a year ago when things were still a little tight and just no restrictions whatsoever. But so far, it's worked okay for him. Maybe it has something to do with the sunlight. I think that's got to be it. All right, everybody. So let's get into the charts. Let's start out with Bitcoin here, and I will look for your request here shortly. We're starting to see some good bottoming price action here. Let me get my magic pen in play. Get that dude over here. Otherwise, I'd be talking with my hands, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and the pen is going. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we're starting to see some good volume in here. A lot of these, like this bottoming down here, very low volume, not capitulating. Nobody was selling into that. And now we're starting to see people actually selling into the move. And these are people that said, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to sell. And so now they're starting to do that. We are starting to see some long-term holders. Oh, would you stop that? Stop the damn, oh, these people are killing me. They're absolutely killing me. I answer the phones. It's all spam and telemarketers. I answer the phone. I'm like, please take me off of your list. I'm begging you. And each one of them, it's like, I block the number. They just rotate through the same home area code. It is just brutal these days. But apparently it must still work because they keep doing it. So we're starting to see panic distribution into this. This is where people are like, that's it. I can't take it anymore, especially with the price going under 20,000. We talked about 20,000 being kind of that magic level that it was going to be drawn down to. If you don't know what that's about, let's go over to the weekly chart here, and we can see this magic 20,000 level. Up she goes into 2018, 2017 to form that high, and that is the high that we just tested from above. Former resistance becomes new support. That's the way it works. So it's almost like you can think of it this way, like you're hanging out in the first floor down here, floor number 1, and here's floor number 2, and you're bouncing around, you bounce and hit the ceiling, bounce and hit the ceiling, and then you bounce so hard, you blow right through the ceiling, and then that becomes new support. So think of it almost like floors. So former resistance becomes new support. Now that didn't work with Ethereum. Ethereum, level was 1400. And so that gives you an idea of how weak Ethereum is right now. So I would say price is doing the talking right now. Believe it when the price talks. All of us can talk till the cows come home about how much we believe in one project or another. And all of it is doing is just showing our sense of cognitive bias. That's all. Right now, the price is telling you everything you want to know about Ethereum. Right now, support is not holding. Neither is the 200-week moving average, which is not good. But so far, Bitcoin's holding there, but it's a tough struggle. You can see that we're having these fractal patterns like swing down. This is a weekly bear flag. This is playing almost perfectly to the measured move. And then within that secondary move here, we have a daily bear flag. So I'm seeing patterns all over the place. This is a daily bear flag, which released, of course. And all it takes is one little catalyst, like Celsius, sell, everybody sell. So this is the process of the market kind of sorting through its own version of, look, 22 years ago, I saw this thing happen with the NASDAQ tech bubble. We had pets.com out there with, $1 billion valuation or something like that. We had all these crazy companies with no value, no revenue, only with a domain name, and were super high valuations. All of that had to come in. And it took 15 years for that to sort out. Same thing's going to happen here with crypto. Ultimately, this is all going to get, shuffled out. I don't think it's going to take 15 years, though. Now, with that said, there are some of these assets that are starting to show potential movement. Like one example of this is Leo. Leo versus the dollar. This is starting to ramp into higher highs and higher lows. This one's good. Okay, we have Polygon. Polygon is starting to move into testing this descending trend line. This is rule number 3. So descending trend lines will eventually break to the upside. And so if it does break into a new high, breaks through that trend line, breaks into a new high, that could be an entry. But what I'm telling you guys right now is don't look at this as an entry where you're going to get on board. Yeah, BitConnect calling. You're going to get on board and take this thing up to here. What I'm suggesting that you guys do is find the resistance level, take this for a trade to the upside. We're still in bear market territory. Just view a bear market rally as a gift. Get into it, sell out of it, take your profits, and look for the next entry. Wait till you see weekly candles that are starting to show an uptrend. And as I've talked about before, you can use Heiken Ashes with that. If we look at Leo on Heiken Ashes, we're starting to see green candles now on the weekly chart on the Heiken Ashes. That shows the trend is to the upside, right? So some of these are starting to show a little bit of strength, what do they call that? The green shoots, like 10, 15 years ago. Oh, we have green shoots in the economy. We're going to start to see these. Now, the thing that I've noticed with crypto is that when it's in a bear, you'll see occasional single events. You'll see some assets like Moon. We used to see this with Chainlink during the last bear market. We'd see Chainlink rip, and then it would get whack-a-mole back down. And we'd see it rip again, or we'd see another coin rip, and then we'd whack-a-mole it back down. So sell into strength. Take these for trades. All right, let's see. What do we got? Let's go into the request section here. We'll just be here for maybe another 15 minutes, and then I have a pint with my name on it. So I've got places to be. All right, so let's look at some of these. We're going to go into the daily chart and see if we can find some of these guys here. So Solana versus the US dollar. We shall look at that, or through Tether. That's fine. Now, again, a lot of these are not going to look good, so don't take this personally, all right? Don't take it personally. This is not a rejection of you at all. This is a rejection that the market is showing of these assets. So what we have here is we have a descending trend line. Now, this Solana is starting to come off the bottom and is starting to show some volume with this, so this is all good. But I'd say we're going to need to break this trend line and maybe at least get above this 50-period moving average. And that's going to be about 48. I would say maybe an entry point of 48. If it's able to get up to there, then it may be able to go as far as maybe 80. So 48 to 80, that would be the trade that I would take on Solana. Oh, let's see. What do we got? Hey, Zachariah. Oh, let's see. Polygon. Okay, so Dinesh, I'll do a little bit more on Polygon, which is Matic versus the US dollar. Again, same thing here. We have the same looking trend line. Same looking trend line. Man, I get to work with a lot of charting programs, and some of them that are included with the brokers that I sort of have to use just because it's easier to just stay on one thing. But they're terrible. And TradingView is so easy to work with. It's so easy to move the scale around and to be able to compress things. And this is such a great program. So I do encourage you guys that if this is something you're interested in, go and get, a decent package with TradingView so that you can use some of the advantages of this. But it's really a good web-based program. It's also got a really good client for mobile smartphones. Okay, so again, to me, for Polygon, I'm looking for this to get above 70 cents for me to take a long in here. And I would sell it probably into $1.30. Sell into strength at $1.30 for Polygon. Oh, let's see. Hey, Barry Digibyte. How you doing? We got Florida. XRP is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. What is that line from? What is that? What is that movie that came out maybe 20 years ago with the two Irish brothers? The Boondock Saints. Boondock Saints. I think that is, right? In nome dei Patri, e Spiritus Sanctus. Bam! What a great movie. Okay, so let's see. Zachariah. Well, let's go ahead and look at XRP for our Florida attorney here. Since we don't look at it all that often, It was doing really well. It was doing really well last summer. I thought I had high hopes that Ripple was, or XRP, excuse me, was going to make a run for it, and it was not to be. Okay, so we're still running on this trend line. We are starting to see some volume ticking up here. So I would say above 45 cents, this is a buy. All right, let's go into multi. Let's see if I can find multi here. Multi versus tether. Okay, not good. Not good. You guys are just bringing up these tickers just to get me to trash your coin. I won't do it. I won't do it, but it's not in a good trend. If you want to know what the trend is, just go over here to your Heiken Ashies and say, oh, Heiken Ashi, tell me what the trend is. And I see a red trend. Like weekly chart, it doesn't get much worse than that, right? So Heiken Ashi will not spare you the truth. And right now, I would say this one needs to get above 5 to have a chance. And I don't see capitulation volume on this one. So this is multi. And then Zachariah is also looking for Alice. All right. So Alice, my neighbor Alice. There we go. So my neighbor Alice is not very healthy and still going through that trend line. But what you're starting to see is we're starting to see capitulation volume. So as we're starting to head lower, we're starting to see the volume tailing up. And that means more and more people are puking out. And that means that the bottom is, it's close, man. It's close. Bottom is near. Okay, Tezos, Noza Capital. Tezos, let's see. It's been a while since I've XTZ. Yeah, it's been so long since I brought up this ticker. I forgot the ticker. Okay. Wow. Yeah, everything is just going through the slaughter right now. We are starting to see more volume as we get closer. $1.50. Man, where was this thing just a year ago? 9. Okay. So you can see this pretty well here. We're into almost all-time lows here. We're going back to 2020 for these lows. We're the pandemic lows. So on Tezos, what I would look for is a long above 250. Long above 250. Not until you get above 250, I would not go long. And I would sell into these, I would sell probably into 4. Take profits on any kind of swing higher, maybe even the 200-day moving average at 320. Okay. Polkadot. Let's see what Polkadot's doing. There we go. Polkadot. Look at the volume starting to tail up. Look at this. You can see this on the moving average. Moving average is going down. And then it starts to tail up. And this is because people are losing their shit and selling out. Their fear is overcoming their logic. And so we are close to capitulation on these because the volume says so. Believe it when the volume tries to tell you something. Okay. That is Polkadot. So Polkadot not looking good, but getting there. And I would say Polkadot needs to get above. I still have this buy point here at about 12, and that's probably safe. Okay, QNT BTC. I know it's there. Seem to have lost my, we'll try this again. There we go. QNT versus Bitcoin. Okay, so this one, and this is If QNT is stronger than Bitcoin, then we're going to see this move into an uptrend. If this is stronger than Bitcoin. So kind of looking at this as breaking that descending trend line. A little bit of volume coming into this. So what I would look for is I would look for either the next pullback to go long or the subsequent break above the 200-day moving average. That's the two ways. So if you're not just jumping on board the breakout here, I would say wait for the next pullback that holds and doesn't keep on going. The next pullback that holds. So holds and bounces from there. So that's where you would use an oscillator to figure out where the turn actually is, like the RSI Ligera that we use. Or you can just wait for the price to make new highs, which is going to be subsequently right above the 200-day moving average on this at 0.003 BTC. Okay, so that's for you, Alpha. And then Apollo. So Apollo currency versus Tether. I think that's what you're looking for. Not so good. We see a lot of capitulation, a lot of volume coming in down here. People puking out at the lows. Still has not turned yet. So I would definitely watch for this one, assuming I have the right coin here that you're looking for. This one is not looking good. But I would look for this to go above 1/10 of a cent. Your 0.001 would be your buy. Okay, let's see. Doge, the mighty Doge. Let's see what's up with Doge. Okay, Doge, not capitulation volume. I still would like to see this thing up near 10 cents or so to consider a buy for this, and it's going to have to break what is apparently a steepening trend line at this point. So it's going to have to get up here. And so that's going to be tough to get through there. Tough to get through that point and clear that noise. But it can be done. Okay, let's see. Can you explain the crazy chart of Zilliqa? Well, we'll just use Tether. Okay, so this is all about price discovery, right? So price discovery means that right around here, people think, I don't know what fundamentally changed. This is not something that I stay up with. So the people that are out there on Twitter and on Reddit and propagating rumors and things like that are what causes this sort of stuff. Where like, hey, do you realize that Zilliqa is the only true path to whatever, enlightened consciousness? And so all of a sudden people buy into it like crazy because it's a cheap coin that costs 5 cents. And so they go, crazy pulling a thing up, and it probably doesn't have that much liquidity. So the shorts have to bail. They have to squeeze out. This is called a short squeeze. And then the bears come on board and spoil the party one more time. Let's get him, girls. And down it goes. So that's kind of what's going on in the weekly chart there, or we can look at the actual weekly chart and see what's going on. That's interesting. So a lot of volume here. So we have another spike right around at this point. This is the 2022 spike that we just recently had. So a lot of this is just price discovery, rumors, those kind of things. A lot of moves don't get made technically unless they're high liquidity. So Bitcoin is high liquidity, so there's a lot of technical moves that I talked about earlier, like the bear flags, things like that. So those tend to happen on highly liquid traded assets. Things like Zilliqa that are more illiquid tend to move around a lot on rumors. Okay, Cosmos. And that is Atom versus the US dollar. Okay. Here's a good example of the power of rule number 3. So when we talk about ascending patterns like this, everything up to this point, and that's a weekly chart. So this is everything up to this point was really okay because we had generally the prices moving up and to the right. So bids were being acquired, and generally there was more demand than supply. And then this changed right there a few weeks ago where supply exceeded demand. And it could have been due to, any number. It could have been the Luna, was it the Luna, Terra Luna thing that came along? Could have been that. Could have been anything, right? So all of a sudden, the market's telling you supply exceeds demand. So believe it when that happens. Don't argue with it. Don't argue with it. So right now, supply still exceeds demand as long as we are making lower highs and lower lows on the weekly chart. That will continue. So this is a broken chart. This will not V-bottom and just reverse like this. This will require a whole lot of consolidation, false breakdowns, all kinds of stuff like that before it finally will start to work itself higher, if in fact it ever does. So that's really, on a per asset basis. Okay, so that's Cosmos. And the next one I have here is FTT, which should be fairly strong, but is not. So same kind of deal here. So same thing here. I'm just talking about simple techniques that you all can use. Everybody likes to talk about, well, you need to add the ribbon bands and the what is it? The pitchfork studies out there. And of course the big Japanese study that everybody loves, and like all these things. And the name's eluding them right now because I just don't use them, but just simple techniques like adding trend lines. And when a trend line breaks, you bail, you're out. So as long as the trend line holds, you're going to look to add on dips, or you're going to raise your stop either way. Ichimoku cloud, that's it. Ichimoku cloud. Yeah, people love, almost like the more complicated something is, the more they love it because they assume complicated equates to more effective in financial markets. It's not true at all. Most professional traders have very crude systems that you would laugh at. Like, what? Where's the edge in that? It's no edge required. It's just about, edge is actually between your ears, is actually doing the things that you told yourself you were going to do when things are quiet. And that's where the edge is. When you give in to the old dinosaur brain, that lizard brain that, is either fight or flight, that is going to crush your accounts until you're able to tune that out. So FTT is not looking good, but let's give it a break. Let's go out to the daily chart and let's draw a trend line on here. And this would represent the very first potential break into an uptrend, which would be a break above 30. Now, I still think it's going to have difficulty getting above and beyond the 200-day moving average. That represents the mean of price movement, right? The price has got a mean. This is mean reverting. So it's below the 200. It will revert back to the mean. And just like this, it reverted back to the mean and then it got rejected again. So I would, if you're in at 30, I would be selling at 40 or so. Audio and video is out of sync. Just don't watch me speak. It's going to be a little bit delayed because it takes a while to push that information down the pipe. Okay, all right. The last two I'm going to do for today, and then I will set you guys free, is EGLD. EGLD. Does it stand for something, or is it just EGLD? Yeah, my coin is eggled. I've got a great idea for business. We're going to call it eggled. Okay, there's our trend line. Got to get above that trend line for us to consider anything. Because right now, supply exceeds demand for eggled. And last one for Stephen Bader, or we could also call him Stephen Bade, is Kaiba versus Kaiba Inu. Is this another dog? Is this another dog? Is Inu, does that stand for dog? Okay, so there's our trend line. And if we look at this on the Heikin Ashis, we're going to see on the weekly chart, we're going to see all red. So wait until this turns green. Green Heikin Ashis will also correspond with price being above this trend line and starting to institute an uptrend. And that's what we're looking for. All right, guys, we are out of time. Like I said, I've got a pint with my name on it calling me right now. So we do this every week, every Wednesday, unless we get busy. We do this every Wednesday. So check out our other services, which are at readysetcrypto.com, as well as readyset.trade. And there's also readyset.vision as well, too. So we've got the financial trading space covered. Whatever your requirements are, we can offer you either free resources, or if you want to take things to the next level, you may join the discussion with us. Thanks, everybody. You guys have a great evening, and I will tip one for y'all. Thanks very much. You guys have a great night. See you next week.